You feel it when the world goes silent, when the noise fades, and you are left alone with something you cannot escape. It is not just a thought, it is a weight in your chest, like something inside you is trying to speak, but you keep shutting it down. You tried to ignore it. You called it stress. You called it overthinking. You told yourself it will pass. But it did not pass. It stayed. It grew. And now it follows you everywhere. Even in moments that should feel happy. And now something even deeper is happening. You are starting to question everything you once believed was certain. Your path feels unclear. Your purpose feels distant. And the version of you that once felt stable no longer feels real. Listen carefully, because this is the moment most people run from and later regret for the rest of their lives. What you're feeling right now is not your mind breaking. It is your illusion breaking, because before truth enters your life, everything falls inside. You starts to fall apart without warning. The comfort you trusted, the identity you built, the life you thought made sense. It all begins to feel empty at once. This is not random. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of something that will either transform you or break you if you keep running. So ask yourself honestly, are you ready to face what this feeling is trying to show you? Or will you keep escaping until it is too loud to ignore? You have been pretending to be okay for so long that even you started believing your own act. You show up, you smile, you say the right things. But inside, there is a version of you that feels completely unseen. And that silent version of you is getting tired of being ignored. You do not break down in front of people. You wait. You hold it in. You tell yourself to stay strong just a little longer. But strength like this, the kind where you suppress everything, it does not heal you. It slowly drains you. And now, you can feel it. That quiet exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. There are things you have never fully faced. Moments you buried. Emotions you locked away because they were too heavy. You thought time would erase them. You thought silence would protect you. You thought ignoring them would make them disappear. But buried feelings do not disappear. They wait, and they return when you're no longer strong enough to hide from them. And this feeling you have right now, this weight, this confusion, this emotional pressure, it is not random. It is everything you avoided, finally demanding to be felt, to be understood, to be released. Because there comes a point where your soul refuses to stay silent. No matter how much you try to control it, you keep thinking something is wrong with you, like you are weak for feeling this way. But what if the truth is, you are finally becoming aware of everything you were forced to ignore? What if this is not your breaking point, but your awakening point? Because the version of you that could survive by ignoring pain cannot exist anymore. And the version of you that is about to emerge requires you to finally face the truth you have been running from. So the question is not whether you can go back, because you cannot. The question is, are you ready to face what comes next? You keep telling yourself this feeling will fade, that one day you will wake up and everything will feel normal again. But deep down, you already know. You're not meant to go back to who you were before this started. Because something inside you has already seen the truth. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That is why the old things do not feel the same anymore. The same people, the same routines, the same distractions. What once felt comfortable now feels empty. What once made sense now feels forced. Like you are playing a role that no longer fits. And it scares you because you do not know what comes next. You only know you cannot stay here. This is the stage where most people panic, where they rush to fill the emptiness with anything that feels familiar. They go back to old habits, old patterns, old versions of themselves, just to avoid facing the unknown. But every time you try to go back, it feels wrong, like forcing yourself into a life you have already outgrown. Because this feeling is not here to comfort you. It is here to move you. It is here to break the illusion, to shake you out of autopilot, to force you to see what you kept ignoring. And the more you resist it, the more intense it becomes, until you have no choice but to face it. You think you are lost? But the truth is, you are in transition. You think you are falling apart. But in reality, you are shedding everything that is not aligned with who you are becoming. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. It feels uncertain. But that does not mean it is wrong, because every transformation begins like this. Unclear, heavy, and almost unbearable. Not because you are failing, but because you are evolving beyond what once felt safe. So stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to turn me into? At some point, you have to stop running from this feeling and finally sit with it. Not to fight it, not to silence it, but to understand what it has been trying to show you all along. Because the truth is, this feeling has been speaking to you. You just were not ready to listen. Every time you felt uncomfortable, every time something felt off, that was your inner voice trying to guide you. But you ignored it. You chose comfort over truth. You chose distraction over awareness. And now, it is no longer asking quietly. It is demanding to be heard. You cannot keep living a life that does not feel like yours. You cannot keep pretending to be someone you have outgrown. Because every moment you ignore this truth, you move further away from who you are meant to become. And that distance is exactly what you're feeling right now. This is where everything changes. Not outside, but inside you. When you stop blaming the feeling and start questioning the life that created it. When you realize it is not your emotions that are the problem, it is what they are reacting to. And yes, this realization hurts because it forces you to see things you tried to avoid. It forces you to admit that some paths you chose were never truly yours. And it forces you to accept that change is no longer optional. But here is the shift. The moment that separates those who stay stuck from those who transform. You either keep numbing this feeling and stay exactly where you are, or you face it and allow it to guide you. Because this feeling is not here to destroy your life. It is here to redirect it. The hardest part of all this is realizing how long you abandoned yourself just to survive. You became who people needed, who circumstances forced, who pain shaped. But somewhere in the process, you disappeared. And now your soul is exhausted from carrying a life that no longer feels true to you. You spent years silencing your needs, lowering your standards, accepting things that quietly destroyed your peace. Not because you wanted to suffer, but because you became so used to surviving. You forgot what it feels like to truly live. And that realization hits like a wave when you finally slow down long enough to feel it. This is why nothing external fixes the emptiness anymore. Not distractions, not temporary happiness, not validation from people who never truly understood you. Because the pain was never coming from the outside. It was coming from being disconnected from yourself. And deep down, you know exactly when it started. The moment you ignored your intuition. The moment you betrayed your own feelings. The moment you convinced yourself to settle for less than your soul wanted. That was the moment you slowly started losing yourself without realizing it. But listen carefully, because this is the truth that changes everything. The fact that you can feel this pain so deeply means your soul is still alive beneath all the damage. It means there is still a part of you fighting to come back home to yourself. And maybe this feeling was never meant to punish you. Maybe it came to wake you up before you spent your entire life becoming someone you were never meant to be. Because sometimes losing yourself completely is the only thing that finally forces you to find who you really are. And now, after everything you have felt, everything you have questioned, everything that has been falling apart inside you, you finally understand. This feeling was never random. It was the warning, the awakening, the turning point your soul had been trying to reach for a very long time. Because the truth is, the version of you that existed before this moment could not carry you into the future you are meant for. That version survived pain, survived disappointment, survived loneliness. But it was never truly living. And deep down, you knew something had to change before life forced the change upon you. Yes, this journey hurt you. It broke illusions, exposed wounds, and forced you to face truths you spent years avoiding. But sometimes, pain is the only thing powerful enough to wake a person who has been emotionally asleep for too long. And one day, you will look back at this version of yourself with tears in your eyes. Not because you were weak, but because you kept going even when nobody understood the battle happening inside you. You survived nights that almost broke you, thoughts that almost consumed you, and silence that almost convinced you to give up. But look at you now. You are still here, still breathing, still fighting, still searching for meaning, even after everything tried to make you lose hope. So if you remember anything from this moment, remember this. The pain you are feeling right now may be uncomfortable, but it is not meaningless. Because sometimes the darkest seasons of your life are not sent to destroy you. They are sent to introduce you to the person you were always meant to become.